Yo, what's up, y'all? I go by the name of DJ Premier. Definitely, life is definitely the number one thing because every day, my new thing now is every day that I wake up, first thing I say is thank you, which is something I used to not do, but I do it now. And then I even have a ritual now. I just had a son, my first child last year, and my thing is whenever I'm not even around him, or even not, whether I'm around him or not, I take my phone, kiss his picture before I go to bed. Even if it's, I don't care if I'm drunk from hanging out the night before I go to bed, I have to kiss his picture. When I wake up, say thanks, turn on my iPhone, wait for it to boot up. Even if I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm waiting. I'm just like, come on, boot up, boot up, boot up, boot up. But I will not leave out of that bed till I greet him with a hello. Then I get out of bed and I start my day and get to work. So that is my new motivation. But prior to that, just life experience and just a passion for hip hop culture. You know, when I always dreamed of being in hip hop, but I didn't know I'd be given a chance to become an artist in the professional level of it and become famous at it. You know, I went and strived to be famous, but I didn't know it was going to really happen until it did. And one thing about that position is you have to value maintaining it, you know, and the longevity aspect of it is what me and Bumpy possess, which is the reason why we're able to still bang out and do what we do, you know, no matter what age. It's all about, is your integrity and your passion still in it to make good records, and we do that. I'll even say the death factor. The first death that I witnessed, I was 11 years old, and it was a neighbor of ours that just moved into the town where I lived in Texas, and he died from drowning in a stock pond that we used to swim in all the time, but because we knew how to swim. I took life saving when I was in junior high. Me and one of my sisters took it early, so I've learned how to, you know, dive in and save a life if I have to. And it was funny because the kid was the only one in our neighborhood that did not know how to swim, and he said he did. So first time he went out with us, he fell in, and he started struggling to not drown, and we were able to get him out. We told our parents about it. All of our parents said, stay away from him if y'all go back out there because you don't want something to happen. The next day he goes out there again, but we didn't go this time. A couple other of my friends went. He falls in again, but they couldn't get him out this time. They start running just through the neighborhood, telling everybody what's happening, and we go out there to try to save him, but it was too late. You know, time had passed, and he was getting. They used to bury old cars underneath the stock pond, so he got caught under one of those, and obviously he couldn't get out in time, and he lost his oxygen. And by nightfall, the paramedics came down there to try to get him out, and he died. And it was as a child, I always thought you could only die if you were old. You know what I'm saying? I thought because the first funeral I went to was a lady, we used to call her Mama, and she died, and she was like 99 years old. So we thought that was just natural. Oh, you live till you're 99, 100 years old, and then you die. So I just didn't understand how could this guy die at 11, because it just didn't make sense. And that made me start to really know that living long is the most important thing to take advantage of, and I apply all of that to every movement that I make to this very day. For me, my biggest challenge now that I overcome is being a boss. I've always been, I don't want to say I was always a follower, but but to a certain degree I have been in the past, but I follow things that I believe in, you know what I'm saying? But to be a boss is a very, 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 very focused task to do, because as a boss you have to lead, and you have to lead fully. It's not even slightly. You have to lead fully, and that's what labels you and gives you that position to sit in the high chair and call the shots. I've called a lot of shots, but not on the level of what I have now, because I've had to even tighten up my circle on business and separating the personal, and still coming with what my job is, which is to make good music, to be a good father, and to just survive on this planet as a human being. So to do all of that and still overcome the stresses of life, maintaining your bills, making money, and still enjoying your job, which is hip hop for us. you know, that it takes change and adjustments and sacrifices, just like the way I sacrificed to become a famous hip hop producer and be in a famous group like Gang Starr. And I'm so glad to be at 46, where a lot of people have never made it that far that we've come up with. We've seen a lot of people die that were even part of hip hop. I mean, losing Pun, Biggie, Pac, our homie Headquarters, his brother Taheem, every rapper you could think of, from ODB to Mossberg to Mac Dre, it's crazy. None of them made it to even this distance, and if they were here, even hip hop would be different, because they would make it harder for a lot of artists that are in control of it now to even get in, because you have to get through them first. So, and we're part of that same cloth, but we still exist to continue to carry the torch for those that are not here and for the ones that are here. I want to be remembered, for greatness. Good example, when I took Gurus of Gang Starr's son to watch the Throne. He's a big Jay-Z fan and a big Kanye fan. He's 11 years old. I took him to the concert, and he knows his dad died. He got to actually see him literally before he was cremated. He got to see him in his shell at the morgue, at the funeral home actually, and that's his last view of his father, is that way. And the illest part about it was, Jay-Z took care of us. Shout out to Tata for to getting us backstage and everything. And as soon as Jay-Z saw Guru's son, he said, man, he yoked him up respectfully in a little chokehold, like, yo, man, you are such a handsome man. He said, do you know your father is one of the illest MCs? And then again, to have Jay-Z tell him that about his father, who Guru is one of the greatest MCs ever, and to tell him that and say, yo, you're one of the greatest. And then right after that, Chris Rock is standing there, and he goes, yo, is that your son? He's like, Motion, that's your son? I go, no, Guru's son. He goes, oh, he comes over there, yo, your father is one of the greatest MCs, Gang Starr, and just saying that, he's just smiling like, wow. And then Kanye walks in, yo, Kanye is Guru's son. He's like, yo, your father, like that's a big thing, because these are who the people he's looking up to besides his father, and he's a fan of in his generation, and they're saying, look, we're not as good, they're not saying they're not as great, but they're saying your father is great. And then, again, he's like, there goes Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo sees us on the elevator with Serena Williams. And this is him saying, there goes Carmelo, 11-year-old kid. And he's like, yo, your father is, I'm not even telling him to do this. I'm just saying, hey, this is Guru's son. So that same thing that he got to really, really enjoy feeling from all these other people he's idolizing, telling them that just out of their respect and love for what Guru's left with his music and his lyrics and his voice. I want that same thing, for my family, my son. I mean, my parents have already witnessed it when I'm going shopping with them, and they're in their 80s, and people are stopping me like, yo, I got to take a picture, and my mom's like, I love this, because she knows, she raised me right, because, there was a time, like you said, if there wasn't a studio, I'd probably, be doing other things that's totally left of center, just because, I was into the dangers of doing the wrong thing just to see how far I could go with the not being as normal as most people are supposed to be classified as normal, and to get away with it. So now, I've matured as a man and as a human being. I understand life a whole lot differently. I appreciate it. And then again, to still get mobbed in the airport with Pete Rock yesterday, at South by Southwest at the airport, and we're trying to get to our gate, and every 2 or 3 steps, you even see people getting up, and there's people that don't even look like they don't even know who we are, and they're like, hey man, I just want to tell you, yo, I love your music. That stuff feels so good, because we're not expecting it. We just walk our walk, but when it comes to us like it does, every day, it just brightens your day. Even on a bad day, it brightens your day.